Good morning, children. In the last class, we discussed about integrated pest management and its advantages. So, children, in agriculture, as far as we have discussed, we know that the fertilizers, the insecticides, the pesticides all require high amount of money, isn't it? That is, the investment in agriculture is always high. So, whenever the crop productivity decreases or when the farmer cannot get the price which he actually spent for the investment, it makes the farmer a debtor. That means he is actually suffering from money loss. And also, the decrease in the fertility of the soil and also the increase in the pest, that means the pest infestation becomes high, it makes the farmer to switch on to the chemical pesticides and fertilizers. Okay, although there are so many money loss for him, when he cannot face, that is if he faces this low fertility of the soil and the pest infestation becomes so much high, what does the farmer do? He has to switch on to chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Although the price is high, he have to switch on that. So, but the switching on to this chemical fertilizers and pesticides for the initial purpose, chemical pesticides. But what happens? The land actually become barren, and we already discussed about the crisis of using chemical pesticides and fertilizers. It has a serious impact in the soil as well as in the environment. So this is actually a difficult situation that is that the farmer has to face. That is, although the soil fertility is low and his investment is so high and it becomes so very uneconomical for him. He is a debtor. But he is forced to switch on to this chemical fertilizers and pesticides, which he knows that it is actually having a serious impact in the environment as well. So the poor farmer is placed caught in a situation in midst of both the situation where he becomes a debtor. So in this time, a proper method is sustainable agriculture. What it is called? It is called sustainable agriculture. Okay. Sustainable agriculture. This is a method. So children, in the sustainable agriculture, what happens is that the reduction in the use of fertilizers. The use of fertilizers can be decreased. Okay. And also, there is no wastage because the decaying matter from one thing can be used as a manure for another. Consider the cow dung. It is a decayed product can be used in biogas production. So there is no wastage and also the use of fertilizers can be reduced. Okay. So that is sustainable agriculture. That is, it is a solution to the problem faced by the farmers. That is, I already said that the investment is uneconomical and he become a debtor. He has to switch on to the chemical fertilizers, knowing that the chemical fertilizers cause a serious impact in the soil and environment. So solution to this problem is sustainable agriculture, whereby reducing the use of fertilizers and the decaying matter from one thing can be decomposed and it is a manure for another and there is no wastage. So this is a condition where the farmer gets some relief from it. Okay. One of the major problem that is faced by the modern society is waste management. Is it so? Yes, because we often find it difficult to dispose of waste. So do you think that this sustainable agriculture is actually a solution to this problem? Have you ever thought about that? That I already said that the sustainable agriculture, there is no wastage and it can be used as manure. Lesser amount of fertilizers should be used. So in this case of the waste management, if sustainable agriculture is incorporated, which all field, it can be applied in which all field? Yes, in biogas production, in fodder production, then providing the fish feed, then in case of the poultry feed production, okay, poultry feed production and all, we can use this. Sustainable agriculture can be used for the proper waste management. Okay children, so the sustainable agriculture is a very important method or it is an important practice by which proper waste management can be done. Okay children, agriculture not only means the production of crop, it also means culturing or rearing of certain animals or other plants in order to get high income. So let us discuss about some of the methods farmers implement in order to get a huge income. It is given under the head of reaping diversity in your textbook. Let us discuss one by one. Okay, the first one is livestock management. Livestock management means it is a rearing of cattle for milk and meat. Okay? A rearing of cattle for milk and meat is livestock management. In this livestock management, mainly cow, buffalo or goat is used. Cow, buffalo or goat is used. It is a rearing of the cattle for milk, meat and other agricultural purpose is known as livestock management. So you have to learn about some varieties. Okay. Let us discuss about certain varieties of cattle. I already said that there is cow, goat and buffalo is mainly reared. So let us discuss about some varieties. The first is cow and the varieties include Jersey. Okay, Jersey cow, Holstein Friesian and then Wetschul. Okay, these three varieties are you have to learn. It is given in your textbook. Jersey, Holstein Friesian and Wetschul. Okay, the next is goat. Goat varieties include Jan Napier and this term is very familiar to you because a film has actually launched. So you may be seeing that film. In that film the Jan Napier goat is depicted. Okay. Next is Boyer. Boyer is another variety of goat. And in buffalo the varieties include Murrah. Okay. Murrah. Then Neeli Ravi and Badavari. Okay. Murrah, Neeli Ravi, Badavari. Children, the next type is poultry farming. Okay. Poultry farming, you are rearing the birds for what all? Egg and meat. Rearing of the birds for egg and meat is known as poultry farming. Especially three types of birds. Chicken, that is hen, duck and quill. Quill is kada. Okay. Now chicken varieties are Adulya. Okay. Listen the names. These names are new to you. There is no other option. You have to learn. That is Adulya, Gramalakshmi. What it is called? Gramalakshmi. White leg goat. These are the three varieties of chicken. Once more I will say Adulya, Gramalakshmi, white leg goat. Okay. Next is duck. Taravinte varieties are Muscovy and Kara. Muscovy and Kara. Okay. Next is quill varieties. Kadagal varieties are Japanese quill and bob white. Japanese quill and bob white. Okay. Okay, children, the next type is sericulture. Sericulture means rearing of the silkworm for silk. Okay, silkworm rear sericulture for what? For the production of silk. The main varieties of silkworm used are mulberry silkworm. Learn the terms: mulberry silkworm, tushar silkworm, muga silkworm. At least in advertisement you may be heard about muga silk. It is very important. Assamese muga silk. Okay, so that is produced from muga silkworm. So mulberry silkworm, tushar silkworm and muga silkworm. So teacher will show you a video to make more clearer about this sericulture. Have a look at the video. Okay. Okay children, the next is pisciculture. It is a scientific way of rearing fishes either in artificial tanks or in paddy field is known as pisciculture. Okay, so fish ആണ് ഇവിടെ rear ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതിൽ തന്നെ this pearl spot, rohu, katla are used for food. Which are pearl spot, rohu, katla. These are all types of fishes. They are mainly reared for food. And you will be very familiar with golden fish, isn't it? So goldfish and guppy are used for ornamental purpose. Okay? Guppy and goldfish are used for ornamental purpose. Children, you all know prawn. Chemmin ellarkku ariyam. It is also included in the category of fish. So the main prawn varieties like naran and kara. Okay, naran and kara are prawn varieties. It is also used as a part of pisciculture. So the scientific way of rearing fish is known as pisciculture. So the next is floriculture. From the term itself it is clear. Flori means flower. So the cultivation of flowering plants. Mainly which are flowers you know? Yes, jasmine, rose, anthurium, chrysanthemum, orchid. So all these, not only this tulip, you can say anything. So many flowers are cultivated. So the cultivation of flowering plants is known as floriculture. Okay? Children, next is the rearing of honeybees for honey. You all know that honey is actually having medicinal and nutritional value, isn't it? Honey is having medicinal and nutritional value. So, where does this honey come from? From honeybee. Okay. So, the scientific way of rearing honeybee for the production of honey is called apiculture. Okay. The main varieties of honeybees reared in this purpose include Colon, Mellifera, Neodymium. Okay. Colon, Mellifera, Neodymium. Okay. Now teacher will show you a video on apiculture to make you more clear. Okay. rabbits is known as cuniculture, and the main varieties are grey giant. Okay, grey giant, white giant. The terms are it's very easy. Grey giant, white giant. Both these are used for the purpose of meat. Okay, they are used as meat. Next is Angora. You can see the picture. It's very beautiful Angora to see because it's completely covered with fur. See how beautiful it is. It is used for the purpose of taking the fur. Okay. So cuniculture means it is a scientific way of rearing the rabbits mainly for meat and fur. These are the varieties. Okay. Children, the next is mushroom culture. It is a cultivation of the mushroom. You all know that mushroom is very nutritional and tasty. Okay, not all mushrooms, but eatable mushrooms are there. They are very tasty and having high nutritional value. So the common mushroom varieties that are cultivated include button mushroom. Okay, button mushroom and oyster mushroom. Oyster mushroom. So mushroom culture means it is a cultivation of the mushroom for what? For using as food, because it is having the high nutritional value. Okay. Children, the next is horticulture. Horticulture means scientific way of cultivating fruits and vegetables. Floriculture is flower. Horticulture means the scientific way of cultivating the fruits and vegetables. Indigenous varieties like mango, then jackfruit, banana plantation, so many are there. But there are also exotic varieties which are exported from foreign countries. They include lychee. What? Lychee. Then rambutan. Okay, next is durian. All these are the exotic varieties. So both indigenous variety as well as exotic varieties are there. This is a scientific way of cultivating the fruits and vegetables. Okay. Children, the next is medicinal plant cultivation. We all know that medicinal plants are very important, isn't it? Because medicinal plants actually helps in curing so many diseases. Even if you are striking with a disease, immediately what we do, that is if you are getting a common cold or fever, we does not immediately rush the doctor. We take a tulsi leaf or we take a panikurka, isn't it? So the medicinal plants are prime importance in our society. So medicinal plant cultivation involves the cultivation of medicinal plants. Which all medicinal plants you know? Good. Tulsi, neem, you can say basil. Do you know aloe vera? Or most of them will have aloe vera in your home, which is actually having a high medicinal property. Adathoda. Okay. Adalodam, that is adathoda. Then ramacham. Okay, tulsi, ramacham, both is actually having the medicinal value. Koovalam. Okay, koovalam. Next is plumbago. Cedar. All these are actually having the medicinal property and they are involved in medicinal plant cultivation. Okay. Children, we learned about so many scientific way of rearing the animals and plants for getting more income from agriculture. So these terms are new to you. You have to memorize it. Teacher have got you a flip chart. You just have to look at the pictures along with the terms. Okay, so you will not forget. So it is a reaping diversity. Under this head you can see that the first one is what? Livestock management. It means the rearing of the cattle for milk and meat, we said. The next one is poultry farming. Poultry farming means what? This is the rearing of the birds for egg and meat. Okay, you have to memorize it and we discussed about so many varieties also. The next one is sericulture. Silkworm. Rearing of the silkworm for silk production. Next is pisciculture. It means a scientific way of rearing the fish for ornamental purposes or for using as the food. The next one is mushroom culture. Can you see the picture? This is mushroom culture. Means the cultivation of the mushroom mainly for the purpose of eating. That is, it is having the high nutritional value. Next is floriculture. Flower. Means cultivation of the flowering plants. Okay. Next is apiculture, means rearing of the honeybee for the production of honey. It is having the high medicinal and nutritional value. Next is cuniculture, which means the scientific way of rearing the rabbit. Rather than from this, we discussed about two more methods, that is horticulture, which means the cultivation of the fruits and vegetables, and then we discussed about the last thing, that is the medicinal plant cultivation. So, in order to test your understanding, there is a table given in your textbook. There is a table given in your textbook. You have to fill up that. Directly it is given in the textbook about the varieties. Teacher show you the chart with the help of all these things. You have to fill that table and I will be asking in the next class. Okay? Children, can you see what teacher have written in the board? Yes, that is, come on farmers, be high-tech. Do you think why the teacher has written like the farmers to become high-tech? We all have now become high-tech, isn't it? Because I am taking this class through online platform. Due to the COVID situation, what happens? All the classes turn to high-tech, that is online classes. But is it possible for the farmers to become high-tech? Are you thinking about that? Definitely, the farming or there are certain agricultural practices by which high-tech techniques can be used in agriculture. Are you eager to know which all are the high-tech techniques that can be implemented? We will discuss about that. Children, we already discussed in the last class about so many crises in the agriculture sector. Okay, can you recall it? Climate change was one of the crises that are faced by the farmers because immediate fluctuations in the climate come. So there is a series, there is a reduction in the crop and fall in price. So this is a very pathetic situation where the farmer have to meet because of the decrease in the crop. Okay, so this situation can be overcome by this high-tech farming techniques. Let us discuss about these methods one by one. The first high-tech technique that can be used in agriculture is polyhouse farming. Listen the term, which is a new term to you. That is polyhouse farming. Very important. Okay, polyhouse farming. Children, in this polyhouse farming, polyhouse actually means that the sides of this are covered by transparent polythene sheets. Note the term transparent. It is not opaque. It actually allows the sunlight to pass. So, have you ever seen the greenhouses? At least some of my children may have observed the greenhouses. Similarly, here in this polyhouse also, it is having a look of the greenhouse whereby the sides of the polyhouse are partially or completely covered by transparent polythene sheets. Children, as I said that in polyhouse, transparent polythene sheets is used to cover the side or as a whole. So, the temperature and moisture inside this polyhouse can be regulated. I already said that due to the climate change, there is actually having a serious impact on the agriculture land and there is a serious reduction in the crop and fall in price. But in polyhouse, what happens is that the temperature and moisture can be regulated. It does not have influence on the atmospheric climate. അതായത് പുറത്ത് ക്ലൈമറ്റ് എന്ത് മാറിയാലും പ്രശ്നമല്ല, ഉള്ളിലുള്ള ടെമ്പറേച്ചറും മോയ്സ്ചറും നമുക്ക് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. So it does not have effect on the that is the climate is not having effect on the crop that is grown, the plant that is grown in the polyhouse. Moreover, nutrient supply. How is the nutrients given in the polyhouse plants? That is, nutrients are dissolved and it is nutrients are provided through drip irrigation. Okay, drip irrigation is employed. It means that water loss is prevented. ആവശ്യമില്ലാതെ വെള്ളം ചെലവാക്കുന്നില്ല because here drip irrigation is implemented. Okay, next is that net covering will be there. നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ mechanical control we studied that nets can be used in order to control the attack of pests. So here also in polyhouse farming also net is used to cover the polyhouse whereby the pest infestation can be controlled. That is a mechanical control. We already discussed about the traps or by using net the pest can be controlled. So here in this polyhouse also net is used whereby you can control the pest. So see how far or how advantageous is this polyhouse. That is, it does not have the influence on the outer climate and there is minimal water loss and the pest infestation can be reduced. So these are all the advantages of the polyhouse. Teacher will say once more, polyhouse farming is in which polyhouses in which there is the sides of the polyhouse or the completely the polyhouse are covered by transparent polythene sheets and temperature and moisture are regulated. So the plants give high yield and the plant growth will be higher because the nutrients are dissolved and it is sprayed or it is provided in drip irrigation. Not sprayed, it is provided through drip irrigation and it is covered by net. So pest infestation is reduced. Advantage is that higher yield, rapid plant growth, pest infestation will be very low. This is a high-tech agriculture technique where it can be implemented. But children, not for all crops. Not for all crops this polyhouse farming can be adopted. Only for certain plants, and also there are certain limitations. That is the investment. The primary investment for this polyhouse farming is higher. Okay. But what happens? The yield will be greater as compared to that of the normal agriculture field. So the farmer can compensate that loss, but initially if he is ready with huge investment, he can adopt the polyhouse farm. So that is all about polyhouse farming.
Okay. പത്ത് വിത്ത് പാകിയാൽ അതിനകത്ത് 5 or 6 വിത്തുകൾ മാത്രമേ നമുക്ക് ശരിക്കുമുള്ള വിളവ് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന രീതിയിലുള്ള ഉൽപ്പാദനം തരുന്ന ഒരു ഒരു കൃഷി രീതിയിലേക്ക് മാറാൻ കഴിയുള്ളൂ. അതുകൊണ്ട് ആ വിത്ത് സെലക്ഷൻ, അതുകൊണ്ട് തൈകളെ നന്നായി തിരഞ്ഞെടുത്ത് നമ്മുടെ കൃഷിസ്ഥലത്ത് നടുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഉൽപ്പാദനക്ഷമത കൂട്ടാൻ സാധിക്കും. അത് നഷ്ടത്തിലേക്ക് പോകുകയില്ല. ചെടിയെ നമുക്കറിയാം ആരോഗ്യകരമായ രീതിയിൽ സംരക്ഷിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ വിളവെടുക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് യാതൊരു കീടനാശിനിയോ കുമിൾനാശിനിയോ ചെടികൾക്ക് തളിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. അങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന ചെടികൾ 100% ഞാൻ പറയുന്നു അതൊരു ഓർഗാനിക് കൃഷി തന്നെയായിരിക്കും.
Children, first high-tech technique was what? Polyhouse farming. We discussed about that. The next technique is precision farming. Precision farming means before farming, which all things we have to ensure. That is, in the earlier classes we discussed about the soil and its importance in agriculture. That is, selection of soil is very important because the soil is the thing through which the minerals and water are absorbed by the plants, and the soil is consisting of certain elements. That is, macro elements, micro elements, water. Everything is consumed by the plants through the soil. So we have to check the soil for looking the structure, its composition, and in order to check the elements in soil, whether the macronutrients are available, micronutrients are available, to check the pH of the soil. pH of this, I already told you that acidic soil is not at all good for agriculture. So the pH of the soil has to be checked, and the presence of water, whether that soil is consisting of water. All this have to be checked by modern technology. So in precision farming, before that is, farming means or agriculture does not mean that immediately going to the field and cultivating the crop. These factors have to be checked using modern technology before starting the agriculture practice. Moreover, the soil has to be covered by polythene sheet, so that what happens? Pest infestation can be reduced, and also that it limit the water loss. Okay children, so in precision farming, the nature, structure, composition of the soil has to be checked, the elements in the soil has to be checked, the pH of the soil has to be checked, and the presence of water have also to be looked by using modern technology, and polythene sheets are used to cover the soil in order to reduce the pest infestation and limit the water loss. So this is the second high-tech technique of agriculture which you can implement. Okay. So children, today we are concluding the class. In today's class, what all have we discussed? Yes, we started with saying about the sustainable agriculture, how important it is to the farmers. We discussed about the sustainable agriculture and use of the sustainable agriculture in waste management. We discussed about the reaping diversity or the different agriculture methods, scientific approaches by which you can earn so many money. By different techniques we discussed, and we came to the knowledge that high-tech techniques can be implemented in the agriculture field. That is, farmers too can become high-tech in order to that is, remove the obstacles. That is, mainly we focused on the climate change. The crisis of climate change can be overcome by the polyhouse farming, and we discussed about the precision farming. So today's class I am going to wind up, but before that I am going to give you a homework, one more homework. That is, what are the advantages of polyhouse farming and precision farming? Note down in your notebook, what are the advantages of polyhouse farming and precision farming? So there are two homeworks for you. One homework was for the completion of the table that is given in the textbook on the topic that is reaping diversity. The second homework is, here in this class, you have to note down what are the advantages or what are the merits of implementing polyhouse farming and precision farming. So see you in the next class. Thank you, children.